My name is Kevin Gilvari. I'm the Youth Court Advisor for the Town of Southampton Youth Court Program. Tonight you're going to see a demonstration of an actual youth court trial. Youth Court is a national program sponsored by the Department of Justice, wherein young people who are arrested are tried by a jury and court of their peers. The Youth Court is made up entirely of volunteers from our local high schools. They make up the judge, the jury, the attorneys, and the court personnel. Tonight's demonstration is not a real trial, but it is a demonstration of a youth court proceeding. Thank you.
All rise. Southampton Town Youth Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Simone Kessler is presiding.
Good evening. On behalf of the Southampton Town Youth Court Program, I want to thank each of you for being here tonight and for participating in Youth Court. Youth Court trials are closed trials. The only persons allowed to be in the Youth Court courtroom are the people involved directly in the case. Is there anyone in the courtroom who is not directly involved in this case or who has not received permission from the Youth Court coordinator to be present at this trial? You will need to leave at this time. Youth Court is a very important obligation which should be taken seriously. Anyone present who cannot give his or her full attention to the hearing tonight will be asked to leave the courtroom. I would like to remind you that everything that occurs or is discussed in this courtroom must remain confidential, especially the name of the respondent. Anyone violating this confidentiality is subject to prosecution and will no longer be part of the Youth Court program. Will the clerk please announce the case?
Southampton Youth Court's case number 18-2587, entitled Southampton Town versus Reed Spencer, will now begin.
Will the respondent please stand and state your full name and age for the record?
Reed Spencer, 14.
You may be seated. Reed Spencer, you have been charged with school code of conduct violation, possession of drug paraphernalia, and endangering the welfare of a child. At this time, I would like to read you your rights and tell you the advantages of taking part in youth court. Your rights of coming to youth court are: you have the right to a proper youth court procedure. You have the right to have defense counsel. You have the right to have an unbiased youth court procedure. You have the right to have your parents or guardians present. Do you understand these rights?
I do.
Your advantages in coming to youth court are: you are not sent to family court. You are not labeled a juvenile delinquent. You are judged by your peers. You do not have to pay attorney fees. You have an opportunity to learn about the justice system. You have an opportunity to serve as a jury member and to take part in the youth court process and see how it works. You have the opportunity to join youth court as a member after these proceedings are done. Do you understand these advantages?
I do.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a parent or guardian of the respondent here tonight? Please state your name for the record. Is there not a parent? Okay. Will the prosecuting attorneys please stand and state your names for the record?
Isabella Romano. Rachel McKelvey.
Joe Algieri.
Thank you. You may be seated. Will the defense attorneys please stand and state your name for the record?
Matthew Lee. John Paul Ferentino. Matthew Godfrey.
Thank you. You may be seated. Members of the jury, it is your duty to determine what disposition, if any, is fair and appropriate for the defendant. To be sure you are impartial and able to fulfill this obligation, I must ask you some questions. Please verbally respond to each question as I ask you. If your answer is yes, please raise your hand and I will ask you some follow-up questions. Are any of you good friends related to or have known the respondent for a long time?
No.
Have any of you had problems with or quarreled with the respondent in the past, whether in school, neighborhood, or elsewhere?
No.
Have any of you heard anything about the respondent, whether good or bad, true or not, which might prejudice you one way or another about this case?
No.
Did any of you witness this incident, or have you heard anything about it which might prejudice you about this case? Is there any reason I have not asked you about which makes you unsure whether or not you should serve on this jury?
No.
Okay. Defense attorneys, do you accept this jury to hear your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated. Prosecuting attorneys, do you accept this jury to hear this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Reed, as the respondent in this case, if you have concerns about a person on the jury, you have the right to have any jury member excused or replaced with another juror. You do not have to state a reason. Are you willing to have these people decide on your case? Okay. Members of the jury, there have been no objections to you serving as jurors on this case. Will the jury, all volunteers, adults, parents, and witnesses, please stand and raise your right hand to take the oath of confidentiality? Please answer with, I do. Do you solemnly declare that you will not divulge, either by written, spoken, or sign language, any information which comes to your knowledge in the course of a youth court case trial, and that you will conceal all said proceedings which may be held in your presence?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Does the prosecution wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Good evening, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you for being here tonight. We are here to discuss the case of Reed Spencer, a junior at Sandy Hollow School who violated the school code of conduct for possession of drug paraphernalia. Reed was with her boyfriend, Donnie, after school in the teacher's lounge where they should not have been, and showed him the vape she had just gotten a few days earlier. When she showed Donnie, he said it was cool but was scared of getting caught. At that point, Reed called him a pussy and used the vape and blew it right by a smoke detector, which then went off. Due to her actions, a girl, Rachel, got scared and fell and was seriously injured and might not be able to cheer her senior year of high school, which puts her through great physical and emotional pain. She did all this just to impress her boyfriend, Donnie, and just to show off. She even enjoyed the attention she received from other students after the incident occurred and was not remorseful for Rachel's injuries. Reed has also been suspended before for a fight in 10th grade and has used marijuana multiple times. Due to Reed's actions, we, the prosecution, recommend 50 hours of community service, a public apology to Rachel, and a written apology to the police and fire department. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Will the defense please give their opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Good evening, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Tonight you will hear the case of Reed Spencer. On March 20th, 2018, Reed Spencer, who in a desperate act to impress her boyfriend, had against her better judgment set off a fire alarm, which resulted in the injury of a fellow peer. But I want to take a moment to show you who she is. Reed is a 14-year-old girl in the 11th grade who has an interest in becoming a part of the Behavior Analysis Unit of the FBI. She enjoys biomedical engineering along with computer science and likes to play chess and read every book she can find. However, her life isn't perfect, as her mother has a severe mental illness, which leaves her without a mother figure to relate to, and her father goes to the city to work every day to help them, leaving without a father figure to help her. Along with that, she has severe social anxiety, which makes her unable to make friends as easily, and only 2 close friends, and was only dating Donnie, her boyfriend, for only 2 weeks at the time of the incident, who said that to Reed that he will break up with her if someone cooler were to come around. Imagine that. A person you love threatening to leave you if someone cooler came around. No wonder she tried to impress her boyfriend. She didn't want to lose the person that she's come to care for. Regarding the incident with Rachel, I want you to think about a few things first. How could Reed know that she was in the auditorium? Secondly, how could she know that Rachel would fall in the auditorium and end up breaking her leg? And I want you to also know something. They weren't allowed to be in the auditorium at all. She was sneaking around with the guy that she liked. Lastly, she blames Reed for what she calls careless actions when she herself was sneaking around with the guy she likes after school. It's a little hypocritical to call Reed careless when she was behind backstage, which she shouldn't be, and ended up falling down some stairs because she was scared of the fire alarm and didn't bother to check where she was going. Also, I would like to mention that Rachel is jealous of Reed for her photographic memory, since Rachel struggles in class Take that into account when hearing her talk about Reed. Despite Reed's actions, youth court is here for restorative justice. So that's what you will do. For setting off the fire alarm and alerting the fire department, the defense suggests the appropriate amount of 20 community service hours and a heartfelt apology to Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Will the prosecution call their witness?
We now call Rachel to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Rachel.
What happened the day of the incident?
I was in the auditorium with the guy I liked, and I heard the fire alarm go off, and the auditorium was pretty dark, and I tripped off the stage, and I broke my femur.
What were your injuries?
I broke my femur, and now I have to do physical therapy. I'm in severe pain, and I probably can't cheer during my senior year.
How has this affected you physically and emotionally?
Well, I'm in constant pain. I can't cheer, and cheerleading is my life, and that makes me very upset.
Has Reed shown remorse for your injuries?
No, not at all. She hasn't apologized.
How would you describe your relationship with Reed?
I just see her in school, but we don't have any classes together or anything.
Do you think that Reed's careless actions will have lasting effects on you in the future?
Yes, I can't do cheerleading for my senior year, and I'm in constant pain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, no further questions.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
Isn't it true that you shouldn't have been behind the stage?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you isn't it true you panicked when the alarm went off?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you didn't know where you were going?
Yes.
Did Reed push you down the stairs? Yes or no?
No.
Is it your own fault that you fell down the stairs, correct?
No.
So you can't really blame Reed for your fall then, correct?
Correct.
Are you jealous of Reed for her photographic memory?
Yes.
That is it, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution wish to redirect the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Who caused the alarm to go off?
Reed.
Does Reed like you?
No, I've heard she is very jealous of me because I'm considered to be popular.
No further questions.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to recross the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. Does the prosecution have any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Does the defense wish to call any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to call Reed Spencer to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Reed Spencer,
How old are you?
14.
What school do you attend?
Sandy Hollow High School.
How are your grades?
Stellar. I mean, I have straight A's.
Can you describe what happened the day of the incident?
So I was with my boyfriend. I was always really nervous around him. It's because of my social anxiety. It makes it really hard for me to be around other people without being convinced they're judging me. It makes it hard for me to even leave the house or go to school. So I wanted to impress him. And so I had convinced this older person that went to our school to get me a vape because I thought he would like me more if I had one, which was an illogical idea, but it was what I thought at the time. And so we snuck into the teacher's lounge, and I pulled it out to use it, and it set off the fire alarm.
Were you trying to impress your boyfriend?
Yes.
How would you feel if he left you for someone cooler?
Devastated.
How many close friends do you have?
Like 1 or 2.
Did you intend to hurt Rachel or
Absol-
anyone?
Absolutely not.
Did you push her down the stairs that caused her to break her leg?
No, I didn't even know she was in the school.
Do you have any mental health issues?
Severe social anxiety.
How does that affect you?
As I said before, it makes it really difficult for me to leave the house, to go to school, to even converse with people.
Who do you live with at home?
My mom, who has really severe mental illness, and my dad works in New York City. He's an advertising executive, so he's not really home much, but he does live with us.
So how often are your parents around?
Not much.
Do you have any parental figures to look up to?
Not really.
What have you learned from this incident?
I have learned that no guy is worth disregarding my morals. I know what I believe is right from wrong, and I decided to just ignore that for this, and I would never do it again.
Are you remorseful for what you have done?
Absolutely.
Are you willing to make up for what you have done?
Yes.
Are you willing to give Rachel a heartfelt apology?
Yes, absolutely.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Does the prosecution wish to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor, may I proceed?
Yes.
On March 20th of this year, you used a vape pen on school grounds, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I have this marked as prosecution's exhibit number 1 for identification? Can you identify what that is?
It looks like it's a vape pen of some sort.
How do you recognize it?
I mean, it's what it says on the box.
Is that the vape pen that you used the day of the incident?
I don't know if it's the exact one. It kind of looks like it's never been opened.
Okay. Do I need to call the principal here to identify it, or will you admit that it's yours?
I guess I'll just say it's mine. I don't want to waste his time.
So it is yours?
Sure.
Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Your Honor, I move prosecution's exhibit number 1 for identification into evidence as prosecution's exhibit number 1.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
Overruled.
Thank you. Can I proceed? Yes. Thanks. So you were convicted with violating the school code of conduct by possessing drug paraphernalia and endangering the welfare of a child, correct?
Yes.
Where in the school were you using the vape pen?
The teacher's lounge.
Are you a teacher?
No.
But you still decided to not only enter but commit a crime in the teacher's lounge, correct?
Yes.
Would you say that you respect the law?
Yes.
Thanks. But you nonetheless decided to break the law, correct?
Yes.
Would you say that you respect your school and its policies? Yes or no only, please.
No.
You don't respect your school and its policies? Correct.
No.
Which is why it would make sense that you would deliberately break into a teacher's lounge and have the audacity to bring drug paraphernalia in, correct?
Yes.
In your statement, you claimed by using the vape pen you intended to show off to your boyfriend, correct?
Yes.
So do you think that a desire to be cool or to show off justifies breaking the law and violating a school code of conduct?
As I stated before, no.
Okay. But you did exactly that, correct?
Yes.
Because you wanted to show off to your boyfriend, you realized that you put many of your peers in danger, correct?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself selfish?
No.
Would you say that you care about your peers?
Yes.
Then why would you put them in danger?
I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. I didn't realize I was putting anyone else into danger.
So now you are aware that because you set off the fire alarm, you scared your peer Rachel, causing her to fall and endure a serious injury, correct?
Yes, but before there was no way for me to know that.
So, like I said, now you understand that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how would you feel if someone carelessly robbed you of what you love most?
I mean, I've been robbed.
Your Honor, if I may be heard, this is just establishing how she would react if what happened to Rachel had happened to her, which establishes her character.
Your Honor, if I may be heard, that is not part of this case.
Your Honor, if I may be heard, it's integral to her character, which establishes the needed disposition.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you realize that by putting Rachel in a wheelchair, you've taken away her position to participate in cheer for the rest of the year, most likely?
No.
You don't understand that because of her severe injury, she may not be able to partake in cheerleading anymore?
I do, but I think she was the one that fell down the stairs. I don't know why that has to do with me.
Okay. So when the fire alarm went off, which caused her to fall, you set it off, right, because you were smoking?
But she...
Yes or no only, please.
Yes.
In your statement, you claim that you're even jealous of Rachel for getting all the attention from her injury, correct?
I mean, I'm jealous of a lot of people because of my social anxiety. It's hard for me to make friends.
Right, but in your statement, you used the word jealous to describe how you felt because Rachel was getting all of the attention, correct?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's directly because of that.
So you don't remember saying that in your statement?
No.
Okay, I can put it into evidence. Thanks. Your Honor, may I have this marked as Prosecution's Exhibit Number 2 for identification? Do you recognize that as your formal statement?
I recognize this being my formal statement. This doesn't have me quoted anywhere, so this isn't my statement. This is...
Do you remember having the interview with Mrs. Matz to have that made?
Yes, but the interview was to answer the questions that are on these 2 pages.
Do you remember when you signed with Mrs. Matz, everything that you said could be used in the statement?
Yes, but in my statement that is over here, it doesn't talk about that. It's only in this back part of it, so it doesn't really show that I necessarily said it.
Do you remember allowing Mrs. Matz to interpret the information and write a summary?
Yes, but it's an interpretation based off of nothing else that says that.
But you do remember allowing her to write the...
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
May I see that?
It's the formal statement that she wrote with Mrs. Matz.
Sign it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, overall estate. Overruled, and you need to move on from that.
Thank you. So can I continue? Yeah. Thanks. So, like I said previously, in your statement, you claim that you're jealous of Rachel for getting all the attention from her injury, correct?
I mean, as I said before, it doesn't say it in my portion of the statement.
Or can I move this into...
Objection, Your Honor. It's actually not in evidence.
And she's using it as a piece of evidence. She's asking direct questions about the evidence.
You haven't had a chance to review it.
Well, the honor said to move on, so I just assumed that you meant to continue with my questioning.
Would you like to see the document?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
objections, Your Honor.
Thank you. I guess it's already moved into evidence if there's no objections. So now may I proceed?
Yes.
Thanks. Could you read the highlighted section, please?
Reed especially got jealous when Rachel was getting all the attention from her injury.
Thank you. So, because of your jealousy, it's also noted that you didn't seem remorseful, correct? In the same paragraph.
Did you want me to read the entire thing? Because as far as I was
you can't find it where it says.
I mean, as far as I was concerned, all you had entered was the highlighted portion for me to read.
Your Honor, only the highlighted section was put into evidence. And she's trying to read from all other parts.
Would you like to revise?
Sure, I can highlight it for you. May I have this new sentence above the first sentence marked as prosecution's exhibit number 3 for identification?
Yeah. Would you like to just put the whole document in?
Sure.
No objections.
Thank you. May I proceed now? Thanks. So, could you read the highlighted section on the top?
She is cooperative with the school officials. That is the highlighted section.
Okay.
She is cooperative with the school officials and doesn't seem remorseful that Rachel got hurt during the evacuation.
Okay. Thank you. It's also stated in your statement that you don't really like Rachel, correct? I can highlight it for you if you need.
I mean, would you like me to read the whole statement?
No, just a section about how you don't really like Rachel.
Reed doesn't really like Rachel because Rachel is popular in school, even though the two hardly know each other.
Okay, thank you. Would you say that you're glad that she got hurt?
No.
You're not glad because she's getting all the attention, not you, correct?
I'm not glad because I didn't want anyone to get hurt.
Right. Do you have any intention to pay for Rachel's medical bills?
No.
No. You haven't even apologized to her, correct?
No, but that's because of my social anxiety. I can barely talk to anyone.
And do you remember claiming that you've learned from your crime in the statement?
Yes.
Okay. But just to clarify, you didn't apologize to Rachel, correct? No matter the reason, yes or no?
No, as
Okay.
I stated before.
And you didn't demonstrate any remorse, as you stated earlier, correct? The highlighted part that you read.
I mean, you're cutting my statement in half because right after it says, but she is remorseful for her actions.
Could you read the part again about where it says, Rachel?
She is cooperative with the school officials but doesn't seem remorseful that Rachel got hurt during the evacuation.
Thank you. Generally speaking, do you think that people who have truly learned from their mistakes tend to exhibit at least a sense of remorse? Yes or no only?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Does the defense wish to redirect the witness?
May I proceed with my question?
Yes.
Are you willing to make up for what you've done?
Yes.
Are you willing to apologize to Rachel?
Yes.
Are you willing to be remorseful?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution wish to re-cross-examine the witness?
Yes, You claim that you're willing to apologize to Rachel now, but why weren't you willing the whole month that has passed?
As I've stated multiple times through this entire trial, I have severe social anxiety. It's hard for me to talk to people, which is why I haven't spoke with her.
So now you think that you will be able to?
I'll try.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor. You may step down.
Does the defense wish to call any other witnesses?
We would like to recall Rachel to the stand.
You may come up. You may proceed.
What were you doing backstage?
I was just hanging out with the guy I like.
You shouldn't have been there, correct?
Correct.
You were always jealous of Rachel. Jealous of Reed, right?
Correct.
You wish that you were as smart as her, correct?
Correct.
You're very active in your school, correct?
Correct.
Shouldn't you be paying more attention to schoolwork instead of maybe perhaps doing cheer?
Objection, relevancy to the case.
If I may be heard, one of the things that's being discussed is her not being able to play cheer this year because of my client here.
But what does that have to do with her schoolwork and her grades, Your Honor?
She was always jealous of Rachel for her grades, so jealousy.
But that's, excuse me.
Direct. You're talking to me.
Your Honor, what they're questioning is nothing to do with the case and Reed setting off the fire alarm. It's just basing her character, nothing to do with the case.
Your Honor, Rachel is here because she is part of the case. And that is a part of the case.
But, excuse me, Your Honor, but her grades.
Sustained.
Thank you.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution wish to recross? Or to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you shouldn't have been there backstage, does that justify Reed hurting you?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to recross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Or redirect? Sorry.
Did Reed have a physical hand in your injury?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution wish to recross the witness?
Just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
She did indirectly hurt you, right?
Correct.
No more further questions.
Does the defense wish to call any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
At this time, the attorneys will present their closing statements to the jury. Will the defense please give their closing statement to the jury?
These actions are unbecoming. It's hard to get away from that. Reed used a vape pen, and correspondingly she received punishment. But that's it. Case closed. But unfortunately, or unfortunately, we are still here. She was pressured to do it by her boyfriend. She suffers from severe social anxiety. Reed has a straight A's and an eidetic memory. She was unable to play chess or use a computer. Reed's mom suffers from a severe mental illness. Given all these factors, Reed's actions are understandable, if not excusable. Reed is under a lot of pressure as a stellar high school junior and the pressures that come from a disabled mother. Rachel is remorseful and willing to apologize, and excess community service could just be the straw that will break the camel's back. As such, we, the defense, recommend the constructive and restorative disposition of 20 hours of community service and a sincere apology to Rachel. Thank you all for your time, and good evening.
Will the prosecution please give their closing statement to the jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Good evening again, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the court. Tonight you witnessed the case of heedless Reed Spencer, a young woman who put her desire to be cool and show off above obeying the law. Reed made the deplorable decision to not only break into the teacher's lounge, but to use drug paraphernalia while inside. As if it weren't bad enough for Reed to risk her own health by using drugs, she took the liberty of putting others in danger as well. Due to her careless actions, Reed's peer Rachel was hospitalized, put into a wheelchair, and compelled to discontinue her passion as a cheerleading captain. Reed stripped Rachel of her favorite activity, an activity she herself claimed was her life. When asked how Reed would feel if the same had happened to her, she responded that she too wouldn't feel good. However, despite this fact, Reed neglected to apologize to the victim and demonstrated no genuine remorse for her actions. Yet ironically, she claims to have still learned her lesson. Now, jury members, I want to ask you an integral question. If Reed truly had learned her lesson, why wouldn't she have apologized to Rachel? Why wouldn't she have demonstrated any remorse towards the victim who she's both physically and emotionally ravaged? Instead, Reed claims that she's blatantly jealous of the attention that Rachel has received in return for the trauma she's been forced to endure. By Reed's disrespectful demeanor tonight alone, you can tell just how seriously she takes this case, claiming...
Objection, Your Honor. Her social anxiety prevents her from actually, performing well in public, I'd say.
Overruled. Overruled. Do not interrupt the closing again.
Thank you. I guess I'll continue there. So as I was saying, by Reed's disrespectful demeanor tonight alone, you could see just how seriously she takes this case, claiming back and forth, this wasn't my fault, I didn't do it to her, it's her own fault that she fell. The defense will try to make excuses for Reed and her actions. They will falsely claim that pressure or naivety is what wholeheartedly drove her to commit this act. This is what they will claim caused her to be charged with endangering the welfare of a child and violating her own school code of conduct. However, the truth is that Reed has both violated school policy and used drugs before. Clearly, Reed's criminal behavior stems far more from her profound own lack of judgment than anything else. And as far as it goes for the apology, no matter what excuses may be made, when it comes down to it, Reed had over a month to apologize. She's claimed that she's willing to try to apologize now, but why wasn't she willing to try over the past month? For these reasons, it is our job, not only as members of the court, but as dutiful citizens, to steer Reed in the right direction. As of now, she may be headed down the path of retrogression. That's why it is with our advisement that she may head instead down the path of progression. With this being said, we, the prosecution, recommend 50 hours of community service to repay the community for harm inflicted, a public apology to Rachel to express her hopefully newfound remorse, and a written apology to the police department and fire department for the wasteful use of their time. We are confident that you will support us in our pursuit for justice. Thank you.
Members of the jury, the respondent, Reed Spencer, has been charged with violation of school code of conduct and possession of drug paraphernalia. A person is guilty of endangering the welfare of a child when he or she knowingly acts in a manner likely to be injurious to the physical, mental, or moral welfare of a child less than 17 years old, or directs or authorizes such child to engage in an occupation involving a substantial risk of danger to his or her life or health. Endangering the welfare of a child is a Class A misdemeanor. It is your duty to determine a fair and appropriate disposition for the defendant and to be sure you remain impartial when making your decision. In deciding what disposition you will hand down tonight, you must consider only the evidence that has been presented in court tonight. When you reach the jury room, it is important that each of you on the jury expresses your opinions and your opinions with each other during the deliberations and relates to each other what you feel the disposition should be and why. Remember, it is your duty to the respondent, the victims, and the community to speak your conscience in the jury room. If you simply go along with the crowd, you are not doing your job. When you reach a majority decision, you are to inform the court. Once court is back in session, the jury of four-person will announce your disposition to the court. Will everyone please rise? Will the bailiff please escort the jury to the jury room to begin their deliberations? Court will now recess while the jury is in deliberation.
Will everyone please rise? The Honorable Judge Simone Kessler is presiding.
You may be seated. Who is the foreperson of the jury?
I am.
Please state your name for the record.
Erin Gilmary.
Has the jury reached a disposition?
Yes.
Will the bailiff please deliver the verdict to the bench for inspection? Will the respondent please rise?
We, the Youth Court for the Town of Southampton, recommend the respondent receives the following constructive disposition. 1 time to serve as a juror in future youth court cases, 35 hours of community service, a written apology letter to the school administration, a written apology letter to the fire department, and a written apology letter to the police department, a verbal apology to Rachel, and counseling. We decided on the victims for this case, who include your family, the school administration, as well as the student body, fire department, police department, Rachel Donnie, and the community. We feel that this disposition will start to repair some of the harm you may have caused these victims. We recommend that you do your community service at the Southampton Town Youth Center during their homework help and chess programs, since you enjoy these activities. In addition, we feel that counseling can help you with your anxiety and issues while trying to fit in with your peers.
Thank you. Reed, the members of the jury have simply done their duty here tonight and returned a disposition for you to fulfill. Their decision was a group decision and must be respected. You may make your public apology to Rachel now.
I would just like to apologize to you, Rachel. I obviously didn't intend for you to get hurt, and I'm sorry that I didn't apologize earlier.
On behalf of everyone here tonight, I wish you good luck. I do hope that your future will be filled with positive activities only, and that your role in our community and society will from this night on always be exemplary. At this time, I would like to ask the bailiff to escort you and your parent to the youth court coordinator, Ms. Matz, who will explain the obligations and conditions of your disposition. Members of the jury, I commend you on the job that you have done here tonight. The disposition you handed down was fair and appropriate for the offense which has been committed. It is important that we all realize that it is necessary for society to have rules to protect us, and that it is our obligation to follow these rules. Members of the jury, attorneys, and youth court members, I thank all of you for the respect that you have given the defendant and the law. At this time, you are all excused. However, remember that you have a duty to uphold the Oath of Confidentiality concerning these proceedings and the individuals involved here tonight. This includes not talking to anyone about the deliberation process. Court is now in recess.